left center field, hit a long way. Out on the run is Liriano, and he makes the catch! An amazing catch! Here comes Ender.
Hello and welcome to the IPL Hangover episode of Sport and Pastime. I'm Prem Panicker.
Hi, I'm Faisal Sharif, and I'm a little more excited than Prem is because the IPL finally has a new winner after many years. And, finally it took 18 years for Virat Kohli to win an IPL title and for RCB to win a title, though the women's team did win one. And it's been a fascinating playoff. I mean, there's so much to talk about, right from the way Mumbai lost, right from the way how Punjab Kings managed to make it to the playoffs in style, one of the finest innings from Shreyas Iyer. So before I keep talking about everything that we have to, Prem, your first thoughts on the final?
My first thought is, like I said, hangover. Uh, I mean, in the first place, the match got over late. We had friends over, we were all watching together. And on top of that, once the match was over, I think Bangalore just exploded. The noise levels were phenomenal. Uh, I mean, I
Uh,
stay in a residential enclave that is well removed from the center of the noise MG road and all of that. But even here, it
mhm.
was like till about 2:30, 3 o'clock. People are just honking their cars. Cars were parked in
Wow.
garages, so open air parking or something. But people are sitting in the car and honking the damn horns. So yeah, I'm still trying to sort of wrap my head around it. And like you said, yeah, finally a win for RCB, uh, a win for Virat Kohli. And you got the feeling that it was this year or never, or at least not for a long time, because particularly for Kohli,
Yeah.
right? This was it, last chance saloon. And honestly, at the end of the first half, I thought PBKS was winning it.
Yeah, I had a similar feeling. I thought they were at least short of, I mean, this might sound very, run of the mill, but I actually thought they were short on 20-25 runs because uh, I think there was a phase in between where they kind of just lost their way. I think sending Livingstone ahead of Jitesh, the wicketkeeper, was a big mistake. I thought they chewed up too many balls between them, Kohli and Livingstone. That's really slowed the pace down, and I think it was a easy 215 to 20 total to give to Punjab Kings. But I think that Punjab Kings were weighed down by the occasion. I think they really lost it with the occasion. Otherwise, I think 190 for them was a par total because Ahmedabad usually is easy to get 10 and over. You can easily chase down 200. So,
Yeah, there are a couple of things about it. One, I found the pitch very peculiar. I mean, after a match, you normally do say, okay, the pitch didn't behave that well and all of that. The thing is, when the ball was pitched up, it was easy to hit. You got the power, you got the placement. But when the ball was back of a length, you got tennis ball bounce and the bowlers were slowing it down, which basically meant that you couldn't get power into your square of the wicket shot. You can't hit unless you come down the track, you can't hit that length in the V or straight down the ground. You have to hit
true.
square. And both teams, batsmen who tried that, were just not getting power into that shot. Very few exceptions, like Jitesh Sharma, for instance, in the Royal Challengers innings, and Shashank Singh in the in the PBKS innings. Other
Yeah,
than
I thought
that, if you
English
notice,
also got a bit of that. English managed to get a
yeah,
bit of that till he messed one up and got caught at the boundary.
yeah, Josh Inglis, in any case, I don't think the pitch matters much to him. He has this thing of staying very low and then getting under the ball and
Yeah.
powering it. But he's the only one who was able to do that consistently. Four sixes, I think, and almost all of them to the square boundaries. All of them
Yeah.
shots that nobody else was able to pull off. I don't know. I mean, You said that about, I think PBKS was weighed down by the occasion. I think both teams were, and maybe what went against PBKS was batting second. Uh, I was thinking of something that there's this guy Simon Barnes who used to be. You probably followed
Oh yeah,
him
of
back
course.
when he was writing. Yeah, the
Yeah, he
the
was a
chief
brilliant writer, brilliant cricket writer of
right
the time. Yeah,
chief sports writer of the Times London. There's a
yeah,
book that he had written called The Meaning of Sport, and one of the things that stayed with me and which I remembered just now is uh, he writes somewhere, I'm paraphrasing, he writes that normally you say the team that really wants it or the player that really wants it is the one who has a better chance. He said that's wrong because if you want it very badly, you will stuff up because the weight of expectations, all this stuff
mm,
going around inside your head. So your mind is not clear, your focus is not on what you have to do in that particular ball, with what length you have to bowl or what shot you have to play. He says the
correct.
player or the team that is likely to win is whoever wants it less. Not wants it less so much as whoever is not burdened by that expectation. I have to get it. So if you look at
Yeah,
these two teams, PPKs, I mean, even their biggest fans would never have expected them to be in the final. It was a brilliant run.
yeah,
But it was an unexpected run, right? I mean, at the start of this tournament, none of us picked PBKs except for Danny Morrison, like you pointed out.
yeah, and he got it
Nobody
right.
picked PBKs. Yeah, nobody picked PBKs for the final. But
That's true.
RCB possibly, I mean, RCB always makes it playoffs, finals, that sort of thing. You looked at MI and said, okay, after that early hesitant start, they looked like the team that could take a sixth title. You looked at GT, particularly those top three batsmen, and you said, boss, very, very hard to, I mean, whatever they score, I mean, whatever the opposition scores, these three guys will score it on their own. You looked at
Correct.
all those teams, and ultimately, yeah, one team that desperately wanted it, and one team that just went out and played to their potential, finally made it to the final. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I think I think the fact that I remember you telling me that GT had the bowlers, anyone could take a wicket, anyone could get a breakthrough at any time. They had five, six bowlers in them. But I think they lost their way because Rashid Khan has probably had the worst IPL season ever. He's never had a season where he's taken less than 15 wickets, and I think in this one he barely managed six or seven, and he was taken for more than 15, 16. You know, economy rate more than five, six times, and that's very rare for Rashid Khan. And I think that hurt them. Other than the fact that they don't have batsmen after three, they just don't have anybody. If the top three don't do it, Tewatia is not who he used to be, and they just don't have the batsmen in the middle and the lower middle. And I think they peaked too soon. They were just playing at the top of their game instead of peaking like a smart team. Making sure giving others chances, and if they're doing well, slow it down a bit. They just went for broke, and I think that really hurt them. But I think Mumbai was fantastic. I get this feeling, Prem, that Mumbai is. They're like the Real Madrid. They had all the best players. In fact, Irfan put it really well in his tweet. He said they've got the number one bowler in the world. They've got one of the best all-rounders, batting all-rounders in Hardik. They've got Rohit Sharma. They've got, Surya Kumar Yadav, who's taken the orange cap. And still, for them not to win this title is a bit surprising as to what went wrong. Yeah, I find that a very interesting conversation to have. Well, what went wrong with MI?
I was actually thinking of a conversation that, with Simon Cooper at the Bangalore Lit Fest. I had once done a panel discussion with him. If you remember, he's the
Hmm.
one who got complete access to Barcelona football team, and he wrote a book
Okay.
called Barca. Brilliant book because it looks not just at how the team played in the matches; it looks behind the scenes, at training, at the thinking, at the
Hmm.
dressing room conversations, all of that. It's a superb book on a football team, one of the best on football that I can think of. He was talking. This was on the sidelines, not in the actual panel. We were just talking about football and stuff like that. And yeah, Real Madrid came in, Barca came in, Manchester United came in. So he was saying there is a fallacy that if you spend a lot of money and put the best teams, best players together in a team, you're automatically going to get good results. So he was contrasting Real Madrid versus Barcelona and also to an extent Manchester United. And he said, look, all three teams have money. They all have the best players in the world. The difference is Barcelona's players grew up together. So if you look at that,
Hmm.
I mean, okay, the front line, the best front line that Barcelona fielded was Messi, this guy, uh, Suarez, and Neymar. Earlier, they had
Correct.
Ronaldinho, all of that. But he said, even though Neymar and Suarez were not part of the Barcelona setup, they didn't come from the Barcelona juniors into the seniors. Most of the other players all have played together and stayed together. He said that creates a sort of bonding. Whereas if you look at the superstar teams, the Real Madrids and uh, the Manchester Uniteds and all that, he said, yeah, if you look at each individual player, they're all fantastic. But what happens with such teams is that they're always thinking that there is this other guy who will do the job if I can't.
Hmm.
He gave the classic example of Ronaldo. He said with Ronaldo in the side, they constantly went up against Barcelona and lost. And it is not just Ronaldo, right? I mean, they had a superstar team, and
Yeah.
every single time in the El Clasico, they went up against this Barcelona side. They lost. They said what was missing was that thing of ownership, and I don't know if that works in the Mumbai Indians context. That there are so many superstar players that everybody is like, okay, even if I get out, there is somebody coming behind me to do the job, and
Yeah.
somewhere
But
along
it's
the way
literally
that got.
half the Indian T20 team if you see Prem. Surya
Yeah,
Kumar Yadav, Rohit, Tilak, Hardik, Bumrah. That's your that's your five. I mean, that's half the T20
yeah.
team which literally took them through. If you just take Virat Kohli out of the equation, that's really what the core of the Indian T20 team. I mean, so they have been bonding, they have been playing together.
But that's kind of the point that I'm driving at. Look at Punjab Kings, no? I mean, who do they
Yeah.
have? Shreyas Iyer, yeah, white ball. He's still in the white ball thing, but nobody else. They've got uncapped players like Priyansh Arya. They've got Prabsimran Singh, Nehal Vader, Shashank
Shashank.
Singh.
Yeah.
I mean, all of them are uncapped, but somebody or the other is putting their hands up, and they're doing the job. In the playoff, Shreyas Iyer does it. Shashank Singh played that famous knock, if you remember earlier, where he
Oh
just
yeah,
came
of
and
course.
destroyed. Yeah, and again, I mean, yesterday he was on a pitch where everybody was struggling to find timing. This guy is scoring at just over 200, six
Yeah.
sixes, and he's
Six
taking
sixes.
down Josh Hazelwood, by the way. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, the last over, okay, it was futile, but the over before that also, he took down Hazelwood. Sorry, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, it was quite
So
something.
yeah,
Shashank's batting to make the total look so thin and lose only by
yeah.
6 runs was quite something. I mean, it looked closer than it was, by the time the second last over began. So it was quite something. But where do you think Punjab lost the game? I mean, just tactically from a moment, if you were to pick the moment.
I think there are a couple of things. Uh, One is, the till the 15th over, Punjab had that is the 15th over of the RCB innings. Punjab had complete control. In fact,
Yeah.
I remember when Kohli got out, I was doing a quick calculation and I realized that if for the remaining, so I think at that time there were 5.3 deliveries left, 5.3 overs to go. If
Hmm.
RCB scored 12 runs of every single one, that is 2 runs per every single ball, that is those 33 balls, they still wouldn't get
Correct.
to 200, right? And
True.
then I think they lost the plot, and for about 4 there was one over by Jamieson, which was complete rubbish. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, he got a wicket in that over, but it was a really bad over in the sense that you know what was working. It is back of a length, pace off, bang it in, get that tennis ball bounce. But if you look at that one over, every ball was a different length, a different line, which basically meant that this guy was, I mean, he completely lost the plot. Yeah, Jitesh Sharma took him apart. But a large
Yeah.
part of the reason Jitesh could take him apart was because he wasn't consistent with his, he wasn't sticking to what had worked for him before. I
Yeah.
think those last 4 overs cost Punjab Kings a little bit before, you know, uh, the final over sort of pulled it back, but that was bad. And I think they also lost it a little bit in the power play when they were batting. Prabsimran
Yeah.
Singh couldn't get off, which basically meant that the usual game of having Prabsimran and Priyan Sharia scoring at about 10, 11 per over, and one of them will get out, Josh English will come in and continue. But
Correct.
I thought that that first wicket partnership, they scored, yeah, 43 runs in 4.6. That is 5 overs. That is under 10 and over. That was probably the first time I'm seeing those two openers struggle,
Yeah.
and that meant that you had to be chasing. Also, think of a team. No, you know you're going in chasing 190. You know that you comfortably chased 200 plus on that same ground a couple of days back. You fancy your
Correct.
chances. Then you see the openers struggling to actually make a mark. What does it do to the players in the dressing room? They start to think, wait, what's going on here?
Hmm.
So somewhere around there, I think, and of course there is the Josh Hazelwood factor. I was, before the match, I remember somebody had posted that meme saying this guy has played in 8 finals across various formats and has never lost a final. Now it is 9 out of 9.
Oh, oh wow. Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's an amazing stat. I didn't know that. Oh, that's phenomenal.
S-
Wow.
So ODI, T20s, World Test Championship, you name the format. If he's in the final, this team
Amazing.
wins the final.
That's
So yeah,
fantastic. Yeah,
but
he was a
think
very
about it,
important
no?
factor, but I. Mhm.
But think about it for a moment. Josh Hazelwood would not have probably made it. Two things happened, right? One, he got injured, he went back, and also the Operation Sindoor and all of that. So all the players went back. The first
Yeah.
statement out of Josh Hazelwood's camp was that he wouldn't be coming back because he had to protect his injury. There is a WTC coming up and all of that. Then you
Correct.
had the BCCI behind the scenes calling up all these boards and saying, "What the hell? Yeah, please release your players." And finally, Hazelwood changed his mind and actually came.
Yeah.
Uh, didn't play the last round robin, played the qualifiers and the
Yeah.
final. And yeah, he got taken at the end, but the end was too late. His first overs at the tone, and also Bhuvneshwar Kumar this time. Bhuvi has been
Yeah.
sort of up and down, but I thought last night he bowled brilliantly, particularly in the opening spell. I thought he was excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think that that phase when Shashank and Vadera came together, and I think they were
Hmm.
rattled because they had lost wickets. I think Shreyas Iyer had gone
Shreya, yeah,
very early. There was that period of where the 13, 14 balls and they probably didn't even get a boundary or a six in that period. I think it really
yeah,
slowed down and the asking run rate just skyrocketed at that time. And I think from there on, they all panicked. But I thought that Stoinis was a letdown. I thought this was the perfect occasion because Stoinis hasn't really won them a match single-handedly. And here's a guy who's capable of doing that. He's the, if Australia will have another Glenn Maxwell, it would have been Stoinis. But
Yeah,
Stoinis just, it was very disappointing. Otherwise, I think he would have finished the game off. But I think that period
yeah.
where Vadera and Shashank both struggled a bit, couldn't find the fence, couldn't get the ball off. I think that really hurt the chase.
Yeah, possibly two things happen, right? One is, like you said, Shreyas falling early. They look at Shreyas as the inspirational totem in the side.
Yeah,
Shreyas falling to the second ball that he faced would probably have jolted Sashank, who came in next. And
yeah.
Nehal was there, he was watching, so he would have also probably taken a little bit of time to wrap his head around the game and say, okay, fine, Shreyas is gone, but it's up to us now. And yeah, I agree. Stoinis has been pretty much a waste of space almost throughout this tournament, which is a pity, really, because I mean, that is one guy yesterday was, like you said, it was a Stoinis day because if you're saying that hitting square of the wicket was very difficult, Stoinis is one guy who it doesn't matter. It's not about
Can
timing.
do
He's
that.
got that
Yeah.
muscle. Uh, I
Yeah,
mean, sometimes he plays shots, you wonder where the hell the power came from. It's got
exactly.
enormous power. So, yeah,
He's been there and done that. I mean, he won a World Cup for Australia with the bat.
correct.
I mean, I was really disappointed that he couldn't put it across. And he's increasingly becoming like Livingstone, the one guy who I think is a farce. I don't know why he makes it to teams, how he gets picked. It's a mystery. They dropped Tim David, who won more matches than him, and they picked him. I was really surprised. RCB, you know, they made a mistake and it didn't hurt them that badly.
I think Liam Livingston is one of those classic examples of you play one great innings once in your life and live on that for the rest of your life.
Yeah, seems like a few Indian cricketers we knew who we
I
won't
was
name.
I was thinking of exactly that. But yeah,
Right. What about GT? I want to hear your thoughts on GT. I said what I thought. What about GT? I mean, the guys who were dominating throughout and just boom, they just
yeah, but look, I mean, I think in an earlier episode we once talked about the fact that GT's biggest strength could also maybe prove to be a weakness, which is that over reliance on the top three.
hmm,
If at least one of the top three doesn't bat through to the 15th over, they more or less more often than not end up on the losing side. They have a good
yeah.
bowling attack. It's not a star-studded bowling attack so much as a very disciplined, very uh, how do you put it, very practical, professional, pragmatic attack. But
Yeah.
with the bat, they need Sai Gill, Josh Butler to
I
fire
think
up.
Butler missing from the playoffs was a big miss for them
Yeah,
because the
it.
replacement was not even quarter as good. Forget half, he was not
y-
quarter as good. He dropped catches. He got out in the weirdest manner possible, a hit wicket in a T20 game. It was
Yeah,
weird.
and also, I mean, despite the fact that, I mean, besides the fact that the replacement player didn't quite come up to the mark, the other part of the problem is when Sai Sudarshan and Shubman Gill are going out to bat, they know they have Butler coming behind them. So they
Yeah,
play with a freedom because if a wicket falls early, Butler will come and do the needful. If they
anything.
set a platform, then Butler will just accelerate.
Yeah.
He'll just skyrocket from there on. So your game is sorted. Here they're suddenly coming in knowing that they don't have Butler behind them, and that was an inhibiting factor. I thought GT's single biggest problem, which they'll probably have to address uh, before the next IPL, is they need a stronger middle order. They need a middle
Yeah.
order where there are players capable of taking the game on if two of the top three don't do well. This is too reliant
Yeah.
on three players. That's not. You will win matches, but push comes to shove, the high pressure knockouts and all that stuff, then you have problems.
Yeah, you need to bat deep then in T20s. Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. You need to. Uh, What about the disappointments? We've spoken about what happened. I'd like you to have one word on Kohli. I think his speech, his interview after the match was amazing. I thought, and sometimes when you're very excited, you say things like, "This is the greatest ever win for me," or whatever. But Matthew Hayden asking him that, "Where would you rate this?" And he says, "I rate this 5 levels below Test cricket."
Yeah,
And that really got a smile to my face. I was like, here's a guy who's been who's waited 18 years patiently to win a title, didn't give up his franchise, stayed with the franchise even though they had lots of problems. They had a tainted boss at one time. He stuck with
yeah.
it, and after 18 years he wins it. It's such an emotional moment for him. But the moment the question of Test cricket and comparisons with T20 and IPL, he's very clear in what he has to say, and I think that says a lot about why he is a champion of Test cricket.
And the sad part is he's saying that after he retired from Test cricket. In fact, within a month of retiring from Test cricket, he's still saying Test cricket is it for me. There's a lot going on behind the scenes as far as Virat is concerned. I hope at some point either he speaks about it or there's a book about it. But yeah, uh, like I said in the beginning, it was this year or never as far as Kohli is concerned. I don't think if RCB hadn't made it this year, I don't think they would have had this kind of chance next year and beyond that. Who knows if Kohli continues to play? Kohli is not Dhoni. He's not going to, limp into the side. He's too proud for that.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I'm happy for Virat. And I'm also, I had the same thought when I saw that interview. When he said Test cricket, I thought, one, it's a mark of the man, and the kind of values he has. He still believes that that is the best form of, that's the most challenging form, and he said that before. He said he likes Test
yeah,
cricket because it challenges you in so many different ways. In limited overs cricket, it's just your ball striking ability. In Test cricket, it is your ability to go up and down the gears, plan ahead, pace yourself. All of those things come into play. And also remember, 5 days, variable weather, variable conditions. The pitch that you start with is not the pitch that you end up playing the fifth day
correct.
on. All of these things come in. So Test cricket is challenging. uh, the reason why it's not, let's say, at least for the spectators, the number one sport is simply because you really have to focus, you have to concentrate to see what's going on. You can't, it's not like the instant adrenaline of T20 or the
That's
drip
true.
feed adrenaline of an ODI. But yeah, I'm happy for Virat more than for RCB. Actually, I'm happy for Virat that, you know, say what you want. This year has been very disappointing for him for various reasons, uh, which we can't articulate simply because, but all said and done, yeah, he got to tick off one box, and one box that he's kept empty for 17 years waiting for this.
Yeah. Just a very offbeat query that I'm never able to answer this one, and it always rankles me. That Sachin eventually retired because I think his body was giving way, and I think he knew that his body couldn't take it anymore. But that hunger to keep playing another game, another match, and you know, to be competitive and compete at the highest level. What would a 36-year-old who's as fit as any 25-year-old you take in world cricket today, what would it take for someone like that to walk away from such a mouth-watering challenge? All youngsters, he's the only one who'd probably be head and shoulders over everyone else taking this team forward, whether or not as captain. Why would you not take that? I mean, I know there's politics behind it, but what would push a man who's so close to greatness and letting it go away?
I again, part of the problem with answering this question is, you hear some things which you can't talk about. You can't talk about because it'll immediately get denied, and you'll be branded a liar, but you know it's true. And we've been through this multiple times with multiple captains and teams and all of that. So I'm not going there. What since it's a tangential question, I'll give you a tangential answer. Did you see uh, that game between Magnus Carlsen and Domaraju Gukesh at the ongoing chess tournament, where Gukesh wins? So what happened was, till about a little more than the halfway stage of the match, there was no question who was going to win. It was Magnus Carlsen. There was the Gukesh had messed up in the early to mid game phase, and he was struggling. In fact, at a break, somebody asked Carlsen, and he said, "I don't know what Gukesh is doing because yeah, this is an easy win for me." I'm paraphrasing, but that's more or less what he said. And then Magnus Carlsen went and lost. And his reaction when Gukesh played the move that told Carlsen that it was over, he just banged the table
Yeah, I
out of
saw
sheer
that.
frustration. Right, but look at the comments he made in the immediate post-match interview. He said, "I don't know why I'm playing anymore." Uh, he said things like, "It feels like I'm playing the same game every time I see a position on the board, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've played this before." He's been playing for so long, and he's been playing at such a high level. Uh, he was hinting at the fact that he doesn't feel challenged anymore. He doesn't, so he's blanking off every now and again. And if you remember, some 2 3 years back, Kohli actually talked about the fact that he wasn't feeling challenged. He said he
Yeah.
was faking it. He said he couldn't. The intensity was not natural, that he had to fake it. Uh, I think a large part of it is that, and which means that he has to get himself up for every new challenge. It's not like when he was younger and more, he had more to prove. Just the fact that he has so much to prove is all the motivation he needs. But today, what does he have to prove? You take the format, and he is, among the top players in that format. Even today, like you said, at 36, nobody has come who has really challenged that sort of position. So he needed some other challenge. I suspect that not getting that challenge, he said, "Okay, I can't go through the motions," and he walked. And
Yeah.
that's
You
about
think
as
it could be
obvious.
something to do with?
I mean, that's
Sorry?
about as obvious as I can put it.
I think that, we've seen so many captains and such dominating captains lead India and really, really dominate. I thought that when Dhoni was the captain, I felt that no captain had dominated world cricket or Indian cricket, sorry, the way he did. I thought he had literally at one point become like the Imran Khan of Indian cricket, where he would pick the players, he would choose, there would be no questions asked. He had the board chief was, somebody who would buy into any request or anything that he wanted. And then Virat Kohli replaced him. And, I have, to my mind, till today, I don't think anyone has dominated the captaincy, India's test captaincy, or being the captain in all formats like Virat Kohli. Uh, Ravi Shastri empowered him. All those who were in power at the helm empowered him. Those who weren't ready to empower him also couldn't clip his wings. I mean, we are talking about a BCCI which has asked Sachin Tendulkar and forced him to step down as captain. Nobody in
Yeah.
India could have dreamt that you can tell Sachin Tendulkar what to do, but here it happened. But with Virat Kohli, I think the power he enjoyed during that phase when he became captain and Ravi Shastri was with him, it was an unbelievable reign that he had. He was choosing the players, he was dropping players, he was ending careers, he was giving extra, rope to those players he believed in. And I think that when that was taken away or literally snatched away from him, I think that really broke him. I have a feeling that that really hurt him because he felt that he had taken and he was doing the right things in more often than not he was doing the right thing India was dominating in Test cricket. India was winning everywhere, breaking records, and winning where they had never won before dominantly. And then suddenly, for no reason, his captaincy was gone. And I think he could never come to terms with that. Of course, he had a blow hot, blow cold relationship with Rohit when the captaincy was passed on to him. But I think he couldn't deal with that. Some people are just either they are the leaders or they're not. I mean, I've never seen Imran Khan play brilliantly well when he was not the captain, when Miyadad would take over occasionally from him. I think that could have been a big factor. You think that matters in the batting also of a great player when he's enjoying so much success as a captain and the kind of power he had?
I, I mean, since you brought up Dhoni, one of the tangential points is I never thought Dhoni was a good Test captain. Uh, he he was good with white ball cricket, but as a Test captain, I thought he was fairly ordinary. He would seize the moment if he got the moment. But whenever things went against him, he was kind of clueless about what to do. His only go-to strategy would be pack one side of the field and tell his bowlers, you just keep bowling there, bowl the hell out of everybody, and hope that something happens. That was his default strategy. I think that Kohli also was guilty of chasing the game many times, of not seeing several moves ahead of the game. But I thought he was a better Test captain. Uh,
Yeah.
as far as white ball cricket was concerned, he was like, sort of like I remember what Clive Lloyd's told me once about Sobers when I asked him, what was a team discussion like? And Clive Lloyd looked me up and down and said, what team discussion? He said Sobers would come in early in the morning after having been out all night, get into his whites, lead us out onto the field, toss the ball to somebody, and say, "Okay, you guys scatter." But
Scatter.
jokes aside, yeah, he said jokes aside, the thing with Sobers was that he was so confident in his ability with the bat, with the ball, as a fielder, all of that, that he said, "Okay, fine, you guys do the best you can. If you can't win it, I'll win it." Single-handedly. He had that arrogance of not arrogance in a bad way, but he had that overweening self-confidence of somebody who,
Yeah.
I mean, we keep talking about greatest of all time and all of that. Sobers had to be the greatest of all time. He was world class with the bat. He was world class with the ball, and he was. Nobody
Yeah.
even talks about his fielding. He was brilliant. Uh, so I think Virat, yeah, I mean, what do you do when you have established over a period not of 1 year or so, but over a period of 6 years, that there is no batsman who is fit to be on the same planet as you? Where do you go next?
Yeah.
Then your only challenge is, can I make my team win? Can I do this? Can I, find the next great fast bowler? All these other challenges, batting you take for granted because you are who you are. I think, yeah, he ran out of challenges. He ran out of reasons to motivate himself, to uh, to 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 get up in the morning and do the hard yards and get into his whites, leave his family behind, go play for 5 days. I still think that if he had been made stopgap captain, he would have played this
He would
series.
have. Yeah, me too. I think he would have. Oh.
But we've
Well, that's
gone
not
fairly
happening now,
far
even though
away
there are small
from.
murmurs. Yeah,
Yeah,
from
no,
the
I mean,
IPL and the playoffs.
yeah,
So coming
but
back to
that's
IPL,
okay.
let's wrap up.
Yeah.
Sorry? Yeah,
No, I
it's
said
it's
that's
okay. I
okay.
mean,
I
it's
mean,
a it's an
IPL is
interesting
over. It's
conversation.
done. There's nothing much that is left to talk about. Yeah, one team won, one team lost. Shreyas Iyer, a second year in succession that he's taking a team into the final. Last time he managed to win it. This time he almost won it. Uh, I still think, like I said, at the halfway stage, I swore blind that PBKS was going to win. Uh, and for that I had to face a lot of sledging after the game was over from the friends who had come home. But yeah,
But Prem, we must not end this podcast without talking about Shreyas Iyer's knock against Mumbai Indians and a couple of shots that he played against Bumrah and the way he played. It's one of the finest T20 knocks, if not one of the finest white ball knocks. What did you make of it? I thought that day he was like he could do no wrong. He was like everything he touched turned to gold. That was another. It was a sublime innings from Shreyas. It was something else, and the confidence that he had, the way he spat out his chewing gum, it was dramatic. It was like very. It was extraordinary drama for the
Yeah,
IPL.
yeah, he was totally switched on. But funnily enough, one of the things was, you remember that that Yorker. I forget who bowled it. This was before Bumrah. That he guided through short third man. It went for four, and then he did it to Bumrah brilliantly in swinging Yorker, almost heading for the base of off stump, and he managed to get it through that exact same gap. The thing is, when he first played that shot in the qualifiers against Mumbai, at first I was like, how the hell did he do it? And then suddenly memory kicked in, and I said, wait, I remember watching this guy play. This, I think, was in the World T20 or something, or the one dayers or something. Like, he's played the same shot. It's almost a
Hmm.
Shreyas Iyer trademark that if the Yorker is close to the stumps, he will play it past short third man to the boundary, and if the Yorker is the wide line Yorker, he'll get it behind point. He does that
Yeah.
consistently. He does that every single time. So when Bumrah bowled that ball and Shreyas just casually played that shot, I was I was thrilled, but I wasn't surprised. And yeah, you're right. Somehow he was in a zone that you reach maybe once or twice in an entire career that day. He just
Yeah.
was on another planet. It's not the stroke
And
play
here's a
so
guy
much. It
who's
is
been
the
dropped.
yeah.
Sorry,
No, I
go
mean,
on.
no. It for me, it was not the strokes that he played so much. It was more. There was something commanding about his presence at the crease. Like, I'm here, I'm winning this. You guys don't have a hope. And he was going up against, like you said, the a team that is almost. I mean, you could send them for a T20 World T20 competition, and they would probably be the best team in the competition. That kind of star power, and with all those stars on the field, it was Shreyas who commanded the stage. That was awesome. I think he was so hell bent on getting into the final, leading his team into the final, that he just went off on another plane altogether. Amazing game.
Yeah. And like here's like it's like one guy who's been, since the 2023 World Cup final, where of course in that World Cup also he had almost, I think, three or four hundreds. He was
Yeah,
so instrumental in their success. And post that, he was dropped, his contract was taken away for whatever political reasons. But here's the guy, he comes back, wins the IPL title, leads his team to Syed Mushtaq Ali. He wins that too, wins the Ranji Trophy. He won everything in sight in
yeah.
2024, so much so that BCCI had no choice but to give him a contract again, take him back in, and he went for an astronomical price. I think it's just been a phenomenal year and a half for Shreyas. I think the way he's done it, and he's still not in the test team. Do you think that there is? I mean, we do make the mistake of comparing IPL performances and ask, the guy to be taken into the red ball format. But do you think? I mean, we've discussed this before, but just before we leave, you think that Shreyas not going to England is a mistake?
I think yes. I think uh, I think Shreyas would have slotted into that team beautifully. See, the only thing that people keep saying whenever you bring up Shreyas and red ball is, they keep saying, "Oh, but you can bounce him out." Honestly, uh, if you're bowling at 145 plus, edging closer to the 150s like Jofra Wood, or Mark Wood, uh, Wood, it seems. But yeah, I mean, if you're bowling that, almost any batsman in the world can get out to a short ball. I can't think of It's not like Shubman Gill won't get out to a well-directed bouncer that's coming at him, or Yashasvi Jaiswal, for instance. We've seen him repeatedly vulnerable to that lifting delivery outside that off stump. All of these things happen to all batsmen. But the thing I liked about Shreyas is he was visibly vulnerable to the short ball at, say, a couple of years earlier. In fact, it was almost predictable. If he came out to bat, they immediately gave it to a quick bowler and had him bounce. He's worked on that, and he's now playing the pull and the hook. It's not, let's say, a Ponting style pull or hook. It's not. It doesn't have that authority, but he is doing what he needs to do to face the short ball. So I don't see where the problem
True.
is. I think also that one, like you pointed out, he's led teams to improbable title wins. He knows captaincy. He's. Do you remember in that qualifier game, Shubman Gill's captaincy? Okay, it is a work in progress. He will learn. I'm fine with all of that. But I suspect that if he comes under pressure, he tends to crack. Do you remember that one over where the bowler was being taken apart, and every damn time this was Johnny Bairstow, and every ball the field got changed. So one
Yeah,
ball was
he
hit
does that a
over.
lot.
Yeah, so one ball was hit over mid wicket. Immediately they pushed mid wicket back and brought square leg in. I mean, brought point in. The next ball was hit over point. Immediately point was dropped back, and you can't chase the ball around the field.
Yeah,
If you notice, Shreyas never does that. He is very clear about what the bowler is trying to do. He sets his field. If at all something goes off, you'll notice he walks up to the bowler and has a quiet word, like what happened there, kind of thing. And it doesn't mean that after every conversation he changes the field. He just wants to find out if everything is fine. Uh,
yeah,
he could have been part of that brain's trust, and I think his batting would have helped.
yeah. I
Uh,
think so. And
I mean,
he's not like he doesn't give it out. Like in the playoff, in the game against Mumbai Indians, when Shashank got run out after the match was won
yeah,
and
yeah,
everything was done, he saw Shashank came up to him. You could hear that those were
yeah, yeah.
not sweet conversations. Those were some pretty harsh expletives coming out of his mouth to Shashank, and Shashank just wanted to vanish on the field when after he heard him. So he can be hard also, and I think you need that as a captain. One thing I saw about Shubman was that after he lost that game, Shubman was actually a bit critical of his players and his team, and
Yeah,
I think I was a bit surprised and disappointed in equal measure that, Shreyas, even after losing, said that he's proud of each and every player, that they're going to learn from this and the job is not done. We're coming back next year to win the title.
yeah,
That is
yeah,
something that he threw at his players, that they don't kind of give up and think that, okay, we've done it, we've made it to a final. He threw it at them again that they've got to come back and win it. Shubman, I thought, was like a bit, he was agitated with his players and he was showing it. I mean, in the dressing room, you can do what you like. But I think in front of the commentators to give those answers, I was a tad disappointed. He was trying to be diplomatic, but I think it was showing through that he was so angry with his players and the lack of their performances.
yeah. That's the thing, no? I mean, uh, for instance, we've both worked in newsrooms where we've disappointed our editor at some point or the other, and we've got yelled at. But the thing is, I noticed that when we really screw up, we don't get yelled. We never got yelled at in public. He would take us aside and say, "What the, you know,"
Yeah,
and you know the kind of language that used to fly around. But it would be in private,
yeah,
and anytime we did well, he would stand up and acknowledge that publicly in the newsroom.
that's true.
Uh,
Yeah,
that's one of the things that I learned, that if you have something good to say it in public. If you have criticism to make, do it in private. Because look, if you screw up, I screw up, we feel bad enough anyway. What is the point of somebody
yeah,
coming and pointing out that we've screwed up? No, it's superfluous for one thing.
true.
So yeah, I mean, I too saw that post match conference, and I wasn't exactly enamored of how he handled it. Hopefully, he'll learn. But
Yeah,
yeah,
hopefully. So on that note, great win. I'm so happy that IPL finally has a new winner. I was getting a bit bored about the regulars winning the title again and again. It looks nice
You
and
know,
looks promising for the other teams now.
yeah, but more than the fact that IPL has a new winner, you know what I liked most about this particular season? Past seasons have thrown up the occasional, unexpected talent. Like a recent example would be a Yashasvi Jaiswal, for instance, came out of suddenly it's like, who's this kid? This year has
Yeah,
been the year of the uncapped player. The number of talent, Vaibhav,
easily. Yeah,
Ayush Matre, the two kids who we
brilliant.
saw yesterday. Okay, they didn't do very well yesterday, but Priyansh,
Oh yeah, Priyansh was
so
brilliant.
many, Suya Sharma, the number of uncapped players
The bowlers,
who
Ashwini for Mumbai
yeah,
Indians, the spinner from
yeah,
Kerala, brilliant. Yeah, you're right.
so
What a
many
point.
uncapped players. Yeah, for me, this is the year of the uncapped player, and what that says about Indian cricket. I mean, you
Amazing.
you expect every season to throw up two or three names that you hadn't heard or who have come up. The young kids come up, but this is like you could comfortably name over a dozen without sweating.
Easily, easily. Yeah, yeah. That's phenomenal, actually.
That's
Yeah,
yeah. For me, that's the takeaway from this IPL.
amazing. What a note to end this show on, Prem. Fantastic point.
Thank you.
Very
I
optimistic
mean,
note
it's
for Indian cricket.
yeah. No, I love seeing young players come in because it's something we haven't seen before, right? And you're watching them
Yeah,
play, and you're like, okay, how is this guy doing this? How did he get to this point? What is his training like? And so many questions start coming. It's great fun. But yeah, IPL over. We have a bit of a breather before the tests begin. So let's see how it goes.
absolutely. I can't wait
And
for a fresh Indian team to
congratulations,
get started.
RCB.
Yeah, absolutely. What a performance. You won it. I was very happy to see Gale and AB de Villiers also there. They worked very hard for RCB but never touched the
Yeah,
trophy. So it was great
yeah,
that Virat gave them he was so generous in his praise to them and said that
yeah,
they deserve this as much as I and the rest of the team. It was phenomenal. I think that was very, very
yeah.
statesmanship, very, very statesmanlike from Virat to do that. So on that note, Prem, I think it's time to say bye. Producers getting angry. We're running over time.
Yeah. Okay then. See you
Okay.
next week.
All right.
Hit a long way. Out on the run is Liriano, and he makes the catch. An amazing catch. Sails the ball back to first